to this video. Tonight we are going to talk about Robert Burns. Recently, my son and I took a trip to Alloway to look at all things Burns. So we went to the Allkirk, the Brigadoon, and his house, and also the Burns Monument, and it's got a little garden, which is it's like right across from the Brigadoon. So it was really nice, and finally we went to see where he was born and spent his formative years. We didn't go into the grounds because it's National Trust that manages his house, but we seen it from the street, and the village of Alloway is so cute. Right across the road, there's a little post office, and it was just like all the baskets were in bloom with their red flowers against whitewashed walls, and it was just so beautiful. It's such a lovely place, and the river and the bridge are like so beautiful. And there was also the pub hotel, which is also called the Brigadoon, and absolutely beautiful from the outside. So it was lovely to see everything, and I thought we could just go over some information about him, and then I can show you the footage that I got on the ride. Robert Burns is the Bard of Scotland. He is a national treasure, and he was literally my age when he died, so he accomplished a lot in his short life, and he was an interesting character, had a lot of children with a lot of women, but his poetry, his outlook on life, and his approach to showing like a really strong moral compass when it came to society and looking out for other people and the everyman. And I think that was really important at the time, and it's maybe more important now. I actually found out when I was reading about him the other day that he became like a national treasure in different countries. So it's really interesting, and his works were translated because he lived in the 1700s, and when you read his work, it's like a mixture of Scots Gaelic and English from the time. So you're basically translating from like this dual set of languages into modern English, and then translating again if you're translating it into a different language like Russian. So Russia was a place where he became really famous, and it's crazy. I find that really crazy. But then I guess with the socialist belief system, like the pure meaning of socialism, not the one that we get, the message kind of rang true in lots of different places all over the world. So I will just read some information about him. I've got it on my tablet. I'm just going to read it from the National Trust website. So let's start. So he was born in Alloway in 1759 in a cottage that his father built, and it's a whitewashed stone cottage with thatched roof, and it's pristine condition. He was the eldest son of tenant farmers, William Burns and Agnes Brown, but despite their modest status, Robert's parents insisted he was educated. He was encouraged to read from an early age, and even attended 1 year of mathematics schooling. The young Burns was more interested in things that gave him pleasure, poetry, nature, women, and drink, than it was in his farm work. When his father died in 1784, Robert and his brother Gilbert took over the farm, but within a few years they were in financial trouble. To make matters worse, Burns was already the father of an illegitimate child, the first of his 13 children. I will say he did declare not ownership, but it is said that he took on his illegitimate, I hate that phrase, but the children that were born in a wedlock, he took them on as his own, at least a couple of them, few of them. So that's something. Burns pursued love as energetically as he did poetry, and his passion for women defined his life and work in equal measure. From his teenage years through the peak of his career, he engaged in many illicit relationships, sometimes overlapping with each other. However, there was one woman who was a constant in Burns's adult life, Jean Armour. They would go on to spend most of their lives together, but when they were first tried to marry, Armour's family tore up the contract. Outraged, Burns supposedly tried to flee to the Caribbean with another woman called Mary Campbell, which is also known as Highland Mary, but was eventually convinced to stay in Scotland, as by then his poems were beginning to attract plenty of attention. Despite his domestic chaos, Burns managed to publish his first collection in the summer of 1786. It made him a literary superstar at the tender age of 27. Poems, chiefly in the Scottish dialect, was the result of an incredible poetic outpouring between 1784 and 1786. It was made up of all manner of works, including poems like To a Mouse and Address to the Deil, that reflected Burns's upbringing, his connection to rural life, and above all his interest in the human condition. After the success of the first collection, Burns spent some time in Edinburgh before officially marrying Jean Armour in 1788 and moving to Dumfries. In 1790, he penned the great narrative poem Tam O'Shanter, a mock heroic tale about a feckless farmer that was rooted in Burns's love for Scottish culture. This work immortalised Alloway Kirk, Souter Journey, and the Brigadine. Burns's passion for Scotland and its cultural traditions came to the fore during the last decade of his life, when he worked on the Scots Musical Museum and a select collection of original Scottish airs. Putting words to traditional folk songs as well as composing his own tunes, Burns contributed hundreds of songs and lyrical poems to these volumes, including Auld Lang Syne, A Red Red Rose, and A Man's a Man for a' That. He died when he was 37 and a half, as noted on his birth house, in 1796 from a rheumatic heart condition. Jean Armour gave birth to their last son Maxwell on the day of his funeral, which I think is so sad. Burns' legacy lives on across Scotland and around the world. In many countries, it's now traditional to sing Auld Lang Syne when seeing in the new year. Over the century, Burns' work has inspired poets such as Wordsworth, Coleridge, and Shelley, and has seen him celebrated in songs, paintings, and even stamps. On the 25th of January 1859, on the centenary of his birth, memorial events were held all over Scotland, and now Burns Night is virtually a national holiday. In honour of our greatest poet, we sing songs, read aloud, drink plenty of whisky, and address Scotland's national dish using Burns' own poem, To Haggis. So that was about him. I was going to read one of his poems too, and I'll just read a short one, but I will read what I just mentioned, which is A Red Red Rose. Oh, my love's like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love's like the melody that's sweetly played in June. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till a' the seas gang dry. Till a' the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt wi' the sun, and I will love thee still, my dear, when the sands of life shall run. And fare thee weel, my only love, and fare thee weel a while, and I will come again, my love, though 'twere 10,000 mile. I think that's a really beautiful poem. It would be lovely to read or sing at a wedding. It's quite timeless, I think. But that was what I had to say about the man himself. I will now show you the footage of the bits that are associated with him in